Yo guys, today we'll be looking over some plays. First we have is Tqqq, which is the triple leverage ETF of QQQ. So every 1% up on QQQ is 3% up on the Tqqq, and vice versa. If we were to go down 1% on QQQ, we would be down 3% on the Tqqqs. So we're currently sitting on the support of this symmetrical triangle, and if we were to go long here, then our stop will be right below at 56.15. But if we do get a bounce, then the first level we need to clear is 60.90 before resistance, and then 63.15. 60.90 is the pivot line for this symmetrical triangle. So above it we're bullish, and below it we are bearish. And a break of 63.15 will also be that gap entry, which is about $1. Next up we have is Soxl, which is another triple leverage ETF, but this one is for semiconductors. We're also sitting at support, but this time is a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. And if we look further left, it kind of does look like a bear flag with this as our flagpole. So once support breaks, we're looking at downside continuation. So if you were to go long here, our stop loss would be directly below at 44.80. But if you were to go long, then upside has a lot of work to do. And 47.15 would be the first level that needs to clear before 50 and 05. Next we have is XLY, which is the consumer discretionary ETF. And just like what we saw in Soxl, it is the very same setup as a rising wedge sitting at support. For the upside, also a lot of work to do. We have 187.35 as the first resistance and 189.50 for the second resistance. And this time the stop loss will be further down, around 183.35, which is also the VPOC, or volume profile point of control, which acts as magnet. Then what we have here is AMC, and today we broke out of the neckline for the inverse head and shoulder, but we saw some resistance around 2080, which we failed to close above it, and we end up closing on the neckline. The rest of the road on this setup is very good because you can go long here and have a stop directly below if the breakout failed to hold. Last we have Nflx, and I like this play, and the reason is because first we have a inverse head and shoulder once the right shoulder closes. There are a couple ways you can play this. The first one we have is this gap fill from yesterday when we gapped down today, and the entry will be 408. And once we close it, the second play we can go for is this inverse head and shoulder neckline break, which is 412.85. And the other reason I like this is because today, compared to SPY and the rest of the market, it had greater relative strength. And if we zoom in on what happened today, although both died around the same time, Nflx actually recovered most of its losses from 135 EST, whereas SPY continued dying down. On a final note, since we know some ETFs earlier, instead of playing the ETF itself, you can play the underlyings directly that's causing the ETF to form this pattern. So if the ETF looks bearish, then most likely the underlines are also bearish. So for example, we have a rising wedge on the Soxl, which is the semiconductors. You can look to play puts on AMD or Nvidia once SOXL breaks down, because most likely AMD and Nvidia will break down as well.